Hi, I'm Steve Phillips, Superintendent of Newberg Public Schools, and today I have with me Heather McNassar, and she is a longtime educator. It's amazing to me. She has been in this profession for 50 years, and so today I wanted to talk to her and get some of her insights. It's just pretty amazing to me. Currently, she's working out of our Mabel Rush Elementary School, and she works with all of our EI students, which is early intervention. So it's our youngest students. So thanks for being here today, Heather.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah. And so can you tell me a little bit about like your journey, 50 years? It's hard to comprehend. 50 years.
Well, I graduated from Portland State in June of 1973, and I was hired through Multnomah Education Service District. And at that time, it was called an IED, Intermediate Education District. And I had a classroom in a very, very old building, children with IQs below 50, and I had 12 kids, ages 6 to 16, and I had one assistant.
Wow. Wow.
And the following year, I was the person that took all of the Park Rose kids to an elementary school in Park Rose. That's the first time that special ed kids had been into a typical classroom setting.
So what other agencies or districts have you worked for?
I've worked in Multnomah to begin with, and then I stayed home and raised my children until they hit school age, and I did respite care with significantly handicapped kids and adults. And then I was hired at Willamette ESD. It was, at that time, Yamhill ESD, and I was the Newberg lady and was there for over 20 years. I retired for a year and got called to Newberg to do evaluations, and I've been here this 5.5 years now. But I've been in Newberg for over 20 years working with families and children, and just this Christmas I attended a wedding of one of my students that came before he was 3 years old.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest difference in education from 1973 to now 2023?
Well, I think the biggest difference is inclusion. Inclusion is a very important thing for these guys because they're part of our population.
Yeah. Speak a little bit more about inclusion for maybe some of the folks at home that don't know exactly what that is or what it could look like.
Well, basically inclusion is including children of all abilities and disabilities in with everyone else. When I had my preschools here in Newberg, we had children and we had waiting lists of children, neighborhood children, that would come in and be typical peers. And when I would have people come in, they didn't know which were the neighborhood typical peers and which were the children that had special education needs. But it was always a really fun thing to do. People were always surprised that we had a waiting list of typical peers to come into the preschool. I want everyone to know that there are special education services for children from birth on. And a lot of families haven't heard about us, that if you have concerns about your child's development, to call Newberg School District, and we're here to help you.
So I guess my last question is, Heather, what keeps you coming back?
I like what I do. I like what I do.
Great, great. Well, thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate your service for our kids.
Thank you.
Welcome.